We are back in Detroit for the 75th playing of this Thanksgiving Day Classic. The Bears and the Lions, Detroit, well, just a game behind the Packers, who will be hosting New England come Sunday up at Lambeau Field, and there is Chicago at 5-6. Well, it's 34 outside, but they had their wonderful parade earlier this morning. Downtown Detroit, very comfortable here. Inside, quite a sight here. And this game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. A lot of enthusiasm about the Lions and the way their season's gone, although the last couple of weeks, again, their offense has sputtered. Chicago won the toss and has elected to defer. So here's the Robbie Gould kick to Jeremy Ross, who will run it out from 6 yards deep. Ross. That decision, not a wise one. Tackled at the 13 by McManus. So here comes Matthew Stafford. The last 2 weeks, 22 possessions by the Lions offense without a touchdown. Stafford's lines shapes up like this. It was concerned about the welfare of Riley Reef, and you see they're going to go with Cornelius Lucas at left tackle. Reef with a knee injury, and Bush is out. We expected Reggie to play today, but he's a scratch, and Joyke Bell gets to start at running back. They open up with 2 tight ends in a run with Bell. He makes contact with McClellan after a gain of a yard, perhaps. Here's the Bears defense that has tightened things up the last 2 weeks, but let's see now that they go back on the road. That's where those 50-point games occurred. Mel Tucker's defense looked better the last couple of weeks, Phil. Kyle Fuller, he's a good one. The rookie out of Virginia Tech with his brother Corey on the other side of the field today for the Lions.
What's your kill? What's your kill?
2nd and 9. They'll go with Bell again, this time right side, and again, nothing there. Right into the arms of Will Sutton, and they'll actually lose a yard or 2.
Well, a couple things about this game. You talked about the Bears defense. First off, I think you saw it on the first 2 plays. They are going to be aggressive. I know they didn't play 2 of the best offenses in the last 2 weeks, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, but attacked the line of scrimmage, took away a lot of simple plays, and really helped them. For Detroit, Matthew Stafford, I said it twice in the opening, it's a big deal. Give him some time so he can trust that he's going to have that time to throw the football down the field and make some plays.
Lions walloped last week at New England, just as Chicago had been a few weeks before that. And on 3rd down, Stafford's pass is wide of the mark for Calvin Johnson.
First play of the game, the first pass, he's got Calvin Johnson coming across the field, and he's going to be wide open for a big play. As he comes across, he's going to run through the defense. It's a zone, and there's nobody on the other side. But Stafford, once again, people all around his feet, not able to step in the throw. Throws it quickly, and it's off target.
It's Martin in to punt. Second-year man out of Appalachian State. Sends it down the way to Mark Mariani, the former Titan, who backpedals to the 29 to field it. Gets past 2 tacklers and is then thrown down at the 45. That's a nice return of 15 yards after a 59-yard punt. Now comes Jay Cutler. 22 touchdowns on the season against 12 picks in his 6th year now as the Bears starting quarterback. Here's his offensive line with Bushrod, the former Saint, at left tackle. Ola, Garza, Long, and Mills. And Matt Forte, he's 6th in the league in rushing and has the 4th most receptions in the NFL. They come out throwing and completing the pass to Brandon Marshall for 8. This Lions defense under the direction of Terrell Austin, ranked number 3 overall in total defense. Sue's having another big year and a contract year. Ashley Palmer starting today, former Buffalo Bill, and the former Jaguar Mathis, one of the corners. They're number 1 in the league against the rush, this Lions defense. 10th against the pass. Marshall made the catch on first down and goes to the sideline. 3 wides in all, and the quick pass over to Jeffrey, bouncing off his own blocker, and he's near a first.
Again, how about Chicago? What do they want to do against this Detroit Lions defense? Whatever it is, Jim, they want to do it quick. They respect the pass rush. They know they're going to have a hard time running the football on them. So catch it, throw it. This will be a big part of their run game, are these little screens outside. And for Detroit's defense, it's all about the front four, getting off the football, create havoc, and just make the quarterback throw the football before he's ready.
Jeffrey picked up the first down. And play action, Cutler flips it over to Bennett as tight end, and he slips through a tackle, and he's got another 12 and a first. They might have had Marshall dinged on that first play when he made the catch for 8, because he went to the sidelines a bit gimpy and has not returned. Another first down here for the Bears.
I think he just came back in, Brandon Marshall, but quick play action, move the quarterback a little, get rid of the football. And when you watch this Detroit Lions team, you understand why that's the game plan on the Chicago side, is because of that pass rush.
So Marshall in a slot to the left, 3 plays, 3 pass plays, all completions, make it 4 to 4 different targets. As Forte takes off down to the 10. Matt Forte with help out front. Garza and Long leading the parade for 22.
Yeah, they love it. So you've seen it. 4 quick passes, screens outside, take advantage. Oh man, what blocks outside by Martellus Bennett and Kyle Long. Take advantage of an aggressive pass rush. And look at this, it's the double team. They actually, both of them, take down the linebacker. And Matt Forte does it all. Runs routes, catches the screens, and a great runner with the ball in his hand.
First and goal for the Bears,
Lucky, outside.
who have passed their way down to the 10-yard line in 4 plays, covering 45 yards. And here's Cutler to the end zone. And incomplete in the direction of Jeffrey.
Good.
Boy, Matt Forte setting him up, though, in a goal-to-go situation. And this is one of the true 3-down backs in the league. There aren't many of them anymore.
Yeah, and he has great endurance. As Mark Trestman said, he never wears down. And of course, he knocked on wood when he said it. Those numbers, look at it. He's a terrific catcher of the football, can go outside. One of the few backs in the NFL that can run routes outside and catch the ball like a wide receiver.
Second and goal. Come back over to Jeffrey. Jeffrey's to the 5, and he's into the end zone. Marshall threw a block for his fellow wideout, and Alshon Jeffrey scores from 10 yards.
Well, when you're a big wide receiver, it's not always about just going down and catching jump balls. It's about being physical, and it's hard to tackle these guys. Brandon Marshall, nice block, break a tackle, get in the end zone, and all you got to do is go down the field and stand next to these 2 guys, and you realize how big they are and how tough they are to guard.
6 plays, all pass plays, in 55 yards.
Running the ball is a waste of time.
When you get results like that, it is. Robert Gold adds the extra point. And in less than 3 minutes on that opening series, the Bears put up 7. Find the perfect gift for the sports fan on your gift list. Beat the crowd, save 10% when you shop CBS Sports. Take advantage of this offer now, cbssports.com/holiday. You saw the towers where we actually stayed the last few days since we came in from the Miami-Denver game. Phil had his own tower this week.
Well, yeah, you were probably in a penthouse, so that was a long way up there, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Nothing like having your own tower, though.
Yeah, that's pretty good, too.
That was good. All right, we'll see if Stafford and the Lions can respond to the Bears start.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. American Express, founding partner of Small Business Saturday. Shop small November 29th. And by Honda, where you can get great deals during Happy Honda Days.
Busy time at Ford Field. The circus was in town, and then, of course, they hosted the Bills and the Jets. And what a fabulous job by the Lions and really the NFL crew that made everyone feel welcome for that Monday night game here.
Yeah, I tell you, I came over, Jim. What a crowd. Now, of course, the tickets were free, but you still had to come and fight when they opened the gates. I saw some people that haven't run in years were extremely fast finding the best seats in the house.
Boy, when they said free, I knew you would be there.
There you go.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and it's great to...
You feel better now? You got me? That was good. Yes, that made you happy, I know.
I have a joyful heart today. You know that. Jim Nance and Phil Simms, along with Tracy Wolfson, and Mike Carey's here, too, if we have any rules explanations necessary, which we usually do. Lions open up with a 3 and out. Let's see what they do on their second drive. Stafford to Johnson, stretches it out. Near a first. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. Definitely a bit of a surprise that Reggie Bush was inactive today. We spoke with Jim Caldwell yesterday, and he expected a workman's load out of Bush. But then I spoke with Caldwell during pregame, and he said his ankle is just not responding the way that they had hoped. He just can't cut as well as he would like on that ankle. They do expect to have him back next week. We'll just wait and see, guys.
All right, Tracy, that was a surprise for us. Sounded like he was going to be a big part of the game plan. Bell now will carry the bulk of it today. Gets about 8 or 9 running behind Swanson. And we really did think that Reggie Bush would be seeing a lot of action with a lot of things geared toward him.
Absolutely. I watched him practice on Tuesday. He looked okay, not great, but I figured 2 more days. And what Reggie Bush does for the offense, yes, he can make people miss in the run game, get your run plays, catching the football, but he gives everybody on the team confidence because they know he'll make some big plays.
2nd and 2, Stafford. And the bootleg completes the pass. And Eric Ebron, the first-round pick out of North Carolina, takes it for 13.
Well, this guy, first-rounder, rookie quarterback, rookie tight end, getting better and better. And how about Matthew Stafford? He can throw it over you and throw it around. Great sidearm thrower. His baseball playing days come in play there. But Ebron, you see him being more and more of the offense as time goes on. And I expect him to be a big factor in today's game if Detroit's going to win.
Just hurtled right over Kyle Fuller, the first rounder of the Bears. So a couple of first-round picks having a little moment there on the field as Johnson again is targeted by Stafford. And just like that, the Lions are inside the 30.
Really good job. Matt Stafford standing in there. Jared Allen, 69, gets around the edge just a little too late and takes him down. But when you give him time, not too often do you see him miss an open receiver down the field. And the one thing watching Matthew Stafford this year, Jim Caldwell, Joe Lombardi, Jim Bob Cooter, the quarterback coach, they've tightened this game up. It's fundamentally better. Just executing play clock.
And Bell is stacked up for a loss of 1. Tonight on CBS, a new discovery could expose the madness behind Sherlock Holmes' methods. It's a surprising new Elementary tonight at 10, 9 Central. Only CBS.
They'd love to run the ball a little bit today. That's one of the reasons. They're always in tough situations to throw the football. If you could just run it, make it easier on the offensive line to pass protect for the guys that make the big plays.
2nd and 11. And that's Pettigrew, starting tight end for a short gain. It'll be 3rd and 9 coming up. Well, we saw a moment ago Ebron leaping over a defender. That was Jeremy Ross against Atlanta over at London. And there's Joy Bell down at Arizona. And then today, Ebron. So you don't like to see this, but you wouldn't know better. You think maybe the Lions are practicing it.
Yeah, I know. Listen, it's a trend in the NFL, no doubt about it. But it's a dangerous one. And once somebody gets hurt, that'll slow it down.
3rd and 9. Need to get to the 19 for the first. Stafford with pressure. Fires it down the middle. And Johnson and Fuller both were in the area.
Yeah, a lot of trouble down the middle that time. The Bears much more aggressive on the defensive side the last couple weeks. Doing a lot on the defensive front. Twisting, changing spots. Good pocket work by Matthew Stafford to not take a sack and at least get a chance to throw it down the field.
Here comes Jared Allen, who's had some big games in Detroit, including his 100th career sack happen on this field.
I tell you, I think he's pretty happy to be on turf, don't you think, Jim?
Oh, yeah, no question. All right, Matt Prater from 46 yards out. And the former Bronco drills this one. Stafford 4 out of 5 on that drive that leads to the field goal.
Hi, I'm Matt Forte with my wife Danielle and my daughter Nala. And on behalf of the Chicago Bears, we'd like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving from our family to yours.
A happy Thanksgiving to Matt, Danielle, and all the Forte family. They're actually enjoying Thanksgiving back in Chicago right now as they watch Matt play. The in-laws been working on all the family recipes. Danielle, I understand, makes a pretty special dressing.
And yeah, what's the rest of the story about Matt?
Well, she doesn't eat the dressing, but he raves about it. And he's not going to be eating with them today. They're going to go ahead and get a head start.
They're not going to wait. They're not waiting. He gets leftovers.
7-3. Bears here in the first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Verizon XLTE, on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network.
We're back inside Ford Field, which, well, in the words of Jay Cutler, has become now a legitimately hard place to play. Early in his career, he said when he used to come in here, it was like a warehouse.
You know why it's gotten hard, don't you? It's the fans, of course, but that defensive front. That makes it tough on any quarterback. Crowd noise and a terrific pass rush. That's the quarterback's worst enemy.
Yeah, they're winning, and the fans are responding. Now they want to see what their defense can do after allowing the Bears' first drive to go the distance.
59.
Still up top, Cutler with a flag coming out as Jeffrey was held up. Darryl Tapp actually knocked Cutler down after he released it.
Nice change up by the Bears. All the screens the first drive, trying to go deep on the first play down the field to Jeffrey.
Bill Vinovich and his fine crew are back at it today after doing the Sunday night game between the Giants and the Cowboys.
Illegal contact. Defense number 31. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, Rashean Mathis, there was some discussion about it, but ultimately the call is against Mathis right here. And as I mentioned, Cutler hit the ground after Tapp got to him.
Well, Rashean Mathis in his career is a guy that loves to watch the quarterback, and he will take some chances to get interception. So he's the perfect guy to try to do a double move against.
Now the handoff is to Carey. To Dean Carey. For a gain of about 3. Hey, a little reminder, the Bears next week will be on Thursday Night Football hosting the Cowboys. Thursday Night Football returning next week. Romo and the Cowboys, of course, they're going to be playing as well today against the Eagles a little later on, but that's December 4th, Soldier Field. How about these two running backs, Moreeeee and Forte, and what they've been doing this season? We'll see them next Thursday. 2nd and 7. Forte still hasn't carried it to this point. It's over to Jeffrey. And he's within about a yard of the first at the 34.
I think it's screen number 5 so far early in this game, and it's working well. And this is the run game. We knew this coming in that they were, the #1 run defense in the NFL. No use wasting plays trying to run it with the middle. those screens worked well.
There's Forte's first handle, or first carry, I should say, and it looks like they may have stopped him short. George Johnson comes out of there convinced that they stopped him, and it certainly looks like they have. They're going to punt. Preston's going to punt it.
Big stop for the Detroit defense. When you try to run inside, you got to remember you're going against C.J. Mosley and Ndamukong Suh. And Suh, you talked about a little in the opening lineups, Jim. He has been great this year. His play, his production, and his hustle. That's one thing that jumps out. He does not take a play off.
Lions talking to one another to beware of possible fake here, as it's 4th and inches, but it's a routine punt here for O'Donnell, and it's a good punt. It's at the 5, and look at the sideways bounce, and it'll be downed at the 5-yard line. 61 yards. Sherrick McManus ultimately downs it, so the Lions will start this next series from the 5. On this special day, the NFL wanted to thank its millions of UK fans for their support of the regular season games played in London this year by creating this special thank you message. Of course, 3 games were played there this year. The Lions participated in one of the games, coming from behind to beat the Falcons about a month ago. And they're going to be going back to London next year. So the NFL says thank you. This game is being broadcast right now throughout the United Kingdom. Now, after Patrick O'Donnell's season-long matching 61-yard kick, the Lions' first snap from the 5 might be actually moved up by 5.
Encroachment. Defense number 95. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
The Bears have an injured player. Let's go down to Tracy for the report.
That's right, Jim. Safety Chris Conti in the locker room now being evaluated for a concussion. It took place on the last drive when he went into Calvin Johnson's helmet. He's in the locker room right now, and it looks as though rookie Brock Vereen will see some more playing time.
Yes, the younger brother, Shane Vereen of the Patriots. He's out there now, number 45. 1st and 5 from the 10. And Stafford, the ball comes out, hit from behind. And then the ball seemed to squirt out again. I thought Rob Sims at first had recovered it, but it may have come out of his hands. And yes, the Bears have it. It was Jared Allen who came from behind and knocked it loose, and then ultimately ends up with the football.
Jared Allen, such a bigger threat on this turf. He can use his speed to the outside, going against Cornelius Lucas on the left. Well, that time it was against Rob Sims. But he moved inside. That caught him off guard. And every throw that Matthew Stafford has had today, he has been under pressure. Had to step up, move. And the offensive line, big question. 2 young free agent tackles starting for the Detroit Lions today.
So they're looking at it just to make sure that the hand was never moving forward, which it doesn't appear to be the case. Ball looks like it came out.
Yeah, the hand came forward with no football.
I don't know how Rob Sims did not finish with the football. Look at him just pounce on it right here. But it squirts out, and Allen ends up doing it all. Forced fumble, fumble recovery. Hey, it is confirmed now. Recovery Bears.
Chicago ball, first down.
Jared Allen has had some of his biggest moments of his career right here at Ford Field. He got his 100th sack here. He actually had his 1 pick 6 was here in 2011. He also caught a touchdown in this stadium when he was a member of the Chiefs and they lined him up on offense.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Jared Allen is, I've said it a couple, the turf makes him really a tougher guy to block, of course. And he's been sick, caught pneumonia this year, lost 15 pounds. And when you're like that as a defensive lineman or any player, it's going to be hard to overcome for a couple weeks.
There's a lot of you enjoyed that piece about Jared's involvement with the Wounded Warriors that came on the NFL Today.
You got 57.
1st and goal.
Go.
Delayed give. Forte will lose 2. First to get to him, Ansah and Mosley. And Stafford taking a closer look at what happened on that strip. He's been under pressure a lot in this first quarter.
Well, I expected they just tried it, Jim. So a play action pass, hoping to give him a little more time to throw the football. But as it goes, nothing is working when it comes to pass protection for the offensive line of the Detroit Lions.
Second and goal from the 6. Back up top goes Cutler. Back of the end zone, and it's pulled down. Touchdown, Chicago. Alshon Jeffrey.
Beautiful job moving in the pocket by Jay Cutler, and that's knowing your personnel. When you watch them play, you know that you have big wide receivers and a big tight end, and you can make throws just like this. Throw it up in the air, they go up and attack it. And of course, the guy that's almost gets there, and Ndamukong Suh, but a good job by Jay Cutler just backpedaling away from the pressure.
Glover Quinn in the area, but that size, as you said, such a thing that Cutler uses to his advantage. Jeffrey's 6th touchdown of the year, and he's had 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. All coming off the fumble loss and forced by Allen. And Jared Allen is still all ramped up. We're talking about some of his moments in this stadium. 07 catches the touchdown. Here's his pick 6 off of Sean Hill. And then in 2011, his 100th career sack. Add this one to the list just a moment ago that sets up a Bears touchdown.
That's a great job, and what was really good, he went outside, worked on the left tackle, then they moved him down inside, and he worked on Rob Sims that time, the guard, and not too often guards, they're not used to speed rushers being right over them, and he made it happen.
By the way, that was the 7th touchdown of the year by Jeffrey, and again, he's on a hot streak here of late with 4 covering the last 3 games. And here's a Chicago team that has struggled getting out of the gates the last 5 games.
Yeah, they really have.
They've been down big in all these last 5.
They don't understand. Hey, penalties, sacks, everything keeping this offense from getting in rhythm.
Ross is going to try to bring it out. The first time to open the game, he got stopped at the 12. And this time, about a yard or 2 past the 20. As we take a look at today's nationwide Skycam, I will tell you, Phil, that the Bears were down 14-0 to Miami, 17-0 to Green Bay. Actually 45-0 to Green Bay. That's how far behind they got. Down 10 to Minnesota, Tampa, down 17 at New England. They've just found themselves in a hole so fast. Today, not the story.
Under.
Stafford swings this one over to Ebron. 2nd catch of the quarter. It's good for about 8.
Well, Jim, this offensive line of the Lions, we talked about it. Can you give Matthew Stafford time? And it's just, that's the difference in this football team this year. If you want to know a problem almost with any team in the league, if the team is struggling, look at the offensive line first. And that's the problem with everything here in Detroit. Not running the ball consistently, can't stay on the field, and they can't protect the quarterback. Tough to overcome.
And you saw their left tackle out today, Riley Reef. There's Bell picking up the first down. Reef got injured on the first play against New England last week, and he was their 1st-round pick in 2012. And, well, you saw it. You saw Jared Allen win that matchup on the last series. He beat Sims, but coming in from that side, from that left side.
Well, the offensive line, Larry Warford, you know, their high draft pick. The guard is out. Travis Swanson, 64 at right guard today. But I said at any time you got to play 2 free agent tackles, one's a rookie, one the second year. That's tough, and especially in this league where every team has 1 or 2 good pass rushers.
Here's Stafford. Here comes Allen again. Flips it forward to Bell. Saves the sack and picks up about 5. Boy, Jared Allen is winning his matchups.
Well, that was Willie Young too. 97 from the right side, just goes right by Swanson. And I watched all the pregame shows the last couple days, and everybody's talking about Detroit. You know, Matthew Stafford, Jim, he's just not playing well. Well, do you understand why he's not when you watch just his first quarter of football here today? He's been under way too much pressure. When you can't expect good pass protection, hard to make good decisions to throw the football down the field.
How about that pass, though, that picks up 6, 2nd and 4. He's got enough first down. Megatron, and a gain of about 7. Tonight, 2 men welcome a new little guy into their lives. The final season of 2.5 Men continues with an all-new episode tonight at 9, 8 Central, only CBS.
And, you know, also, when you have troubles with the offensive line, it's good to say that, hey, we want to run the football and try to do that. But the 30th in the NFL running the football, you just got to find a way. Keep extra people in, give him more protection.
1st and 10, they've got Riddick in. And it's Johnson with yet another catch inside the 40. So they're moving as they did the last time they had it before being shut down for a field goal. Gain of 15 that time.
The Chicago defense, they want to keep Kyle Fuller to the side of Calvin Johnson. Not necessarily to play man coverage, but just to be, he's a big corner, and when you give him time, just watch this throw. Able to get back under his body with his legs and just rips it right in there for an easy completion.
Flags are out as Riddick gets the carry. Fuller the first to come up and make contact.
Fuller, first-round draft pick, playing corner.
Holding. Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Not afraid to come up and make those tackles.
That penalty is on Dominic Raiola, the center, who's coming off a, well, as Bill Belichick called it, kind of a tough game for him at New England last week, and he had a $10,000 fine to go with it for one of the plays that he made.
Well, he's tough, he's a leader, and I like him at center.
Get back to that in a moment. We're through 1. 14-3 Chicago. You're watching the NFL on CBS. (14-3) after 1. And as you look at the man from Santa Claus, Indiana, here on Thanksgiving Day, Jake Cutler. They've been down in the last 6 games, 41-0 total. But not the story of this game today. Up 14-3, including a couple of touchdown passes.
Under.
Well, do you keep somebody in extra to help with pass protection for Matt Stafford?
And a penalty on that last play of the first quarter. And 1st and 20 throw goes to Corey Fuller. We've talked so much about his brother in the secondary. 21-yard gain for Corey Fuller this time.
Well, that wasn't against his brother. That's against Jennings on the opposite side. Well, we heard that from the Lions this week, right? A lot. They're all talking about how Corey Fuller, a wide receiver, is always bragging about his brother Kyle, the corner for Chicago, how well he's doing.
Oh, look, there they meet. Now, why was Kyle coming over there knocking it out of his hands?
I just want him to know.
Sets up the Lions at the 28. Quickly over to Ebron. And he's wrapped up by Ryan Mundy.
You know, you look at the Lions, you go, okay, the quick passing game, that works well for them in situations like that because defenders will back off of the wide receivers and tight ends. They're not a great screen team, in my opinion, or when you watch them when Reggie Bush is out of the game. So that's a big part. If you could throw some screens and at least make the defensive linemen think twice before they go charging at the quarterback, that would help a lot.
2nd and 6. Here's Bell. And he's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Paya was the first to close in on him. And again, the Lions, they are starved for a touchdown. Now we're up to 25 offensive drives since their last touchdown, week 10 against Miami, which happened at the end of the game when Stafford found Riddick for the win.
Well, they pulled out a few victories. Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator. It is a new offense. But again, as I've said all year long, you cannot overcome the offensive line in situations like they've been in.
Got Fuller on Fuller at the bottom of the screen. Tate at the top has not been targeted so far today. 3rd and 6. And what a catch for the touchdown. Calvin Johnson.
That was a perfect play call that time against the blitz. Calvin Johnson right down the seam. And the Bears love to do this a lot. They'll blitz you and then play zone behind it.
Right between Fuller and Vereen.
You know, I would say there's only a couple wide receivers in the NFL could make that catch because of his height. I don't know if there's a couple. That might be just one, and that's Calvin Johnson.
Went right between the two rookies in the secondary and pulls it down for the touchdown. And the streak is over for the Lions offense. First touchdown in 146 snaps by the Lions offense. Prater puts up one more. Got a good one going on here at Ford Field. This time it's Calvin Johnson who makes the haul for 6. Stafford trying to catch a glimpse of his touchdown throw. Tonight on CBS, it's a Turkey Day surprise on an all-new episode of The McCarthys. Join the celebration tonight after 2.5 Men on America's #1 network. Well, Calvin Johnson's been anything but 100% this season. He missed 3 games, in fact, with an ankle injury. But he's made already an impact on this game. 5 catches for 77 yards and the touchdown.
Well, Jim, a couple things to look at in that touchdown. First, Joique Bell, number 35, gets the blitzing linebacker, but they're going to go down the seams, and Matthew Stafford reads it and makes the throw. Under pressure, so you go down it and watch the defenders let Calvin Johnson go. And that as he goes into the end zone, it really is the corner's job, which was Kyle Fuller, to come off of his guy outside and see if he can go inside and knock that football down. Probably would have got it done against most receivers. Calvin Johnson just too big.
Here's Cutler on first down, swinging it over to Forte. Jeffrey was trying to throw a block on that side, and it's gain of 6. Forte's 2nd catch of the game.
Well, the quarterback's got to be off to 3 incompletions. And you know, we talked to Mark Trestman last night. And what did he say about this Detroit defense? They're big up front. They really like to get up the field, of course, in the run game and the pass. So they want them to go sideways. So those screen plays are outside. It makes them run. You hope it tires them out so you can block them even better later in the game.
Extra lineman and Leno. It's Forte trying to run. You got Lions' #1 rush defense. And he's got a gain of about 2.
How about that? Even that run is a little deception to it. The old dive, fake, and pitch it outside. That's what DeAndre Levy told us. He says they don't even wait. Usually that's a 3rd down play. He goes, the Chicago Bears will use that on 1st and 2nd, which we just saw there.
3rd and 2 coming up for Chicago. They bring Wilson in as the 3rd receiver. Carey is the running back. To Jeffrey. He powers his way past Mathis to pick up the 1st down.
Well, how about that 3rd and 2? Play action pass, short throw outside. Do everything you can to keep this rush from being a factor.
Ansem
Boy, Jay Cutler, when he gets set, doesn't do it often, Jim. When you watch him, he's just thrown off balance so much in his career. But when he does get set, he can still throw it fast and direct and right on target.
It looked like Ansah thought he might be able to tip it, but Cutler got it around him as he goes down the sideline. And Marshall was trying to get not only the catch, but make sure the feet were down, and it sails past him.
Well, the big key for this Detroit defensive secondary is they don't want to be chasing these wide receivers. So the idea, let them catch it maybe underneath, but always be watching the quarterback, because, Jim, if you turn your back, what is Jay Cutler going to do? He's going to throw it right over your head, and those big guys go up and make the catch.
You've worked with Brandon Marshall this year on the inside the NFL.
He's pretty good at TV and catching the football. Takes a little too much of my airtime, though. You know, he talks.
Well, I know you don't like that.
Yeah, we got to get that straight.
Chicago.
Timeout called by Chicago. When you talk about Marshall on one side and Calvin Johnson on the other, this is since 2010 in the league. Marshall has the most catches, Calvin for the most yardage.
Really terrific numbers, and so not a lot, but there's enough really big, fast wide receivers in the NFL. And of course, there's a lot of things you can do with the size. You can throw it up to them, and both of them are good enough route runners, of course, to get open on man coverage going across the field.
So coming out of a Chicago timeout, Marshall split wide to the left, 2nd down and 10. And they were able to reinsert Alshon Jeffrey after the timeout. Here's Bennett. Martellus Bennett plows ahead for another. Chicago first.
Really good job. It's a game inside by the Detroit Lions defense. And what I mean by that, here comes Mosley around. 3-runner, and Jay Cutler once again just gets rid of it. Well, before they get there, Fluella, the other defensive lineman there. I haven't seen Ndamukong Suh go against Kyle Long as much. I was kind of looking forward to that. Kyle Long, the right guard for the Bears, is terrific, can really run. Great pass protector. They're moving Suh all around the defensive line to get a matchup they like.
And 1st and 10, Kadeem Carey. Wrapped up by the ankles by DeAndre Levy.
Well, DeAndre Levy, his key to being a good linebacker, I don't worry about mistakes. And what he means by that, he just plays.
By instinct.
Instinct. If he sees it, he believes what he sees, and he goes after it. Wasn't really keen about Thanksgiving food and all that, was he, Jim? You know, he's like, it wasn't one of his favorite things.
He had one thing on his mind, and that was this matchup.
That's right.
2nd and 5. Cutler has time, but then it's batted down. That's George Johnson.
Really good pickup by the Detroit Lions, getting George Johnson down the outside, not fooled. Keeps outside leverage, nowhere for Jay Cutler to throw the football. George Johnson was a defensive tackle up in Minnesota, much heavier than he is now. He came here, he lost weight, and they all talk about it. He's a defensive end. That's where he should be, and he's played really well for this defense.
3rd and 5. Cutler hasn't faced a lot of pressure. But time to fire it here for the 1st down to Marshall. Right in front of Darius Slay and a gain of 10.
We had a clock on Jay Cutler. It's not getting to 2 seconds. He is catching it and letting it go, and for good reason. Watch Suh just pushing Garza straight back, but stayed in front. Good job. When you got to block him when he's right in front of you one-on-one, there's no tougher job in football.
So back to the Lions side of the field. Jeffrey already with 2 touchdowns. Held to a gain of a yard. NFL fans, you can order your holiday gifts from NFLshop.com today and save 20% at the official store of the NFL. NFL Shop Southwest.com.
Now, you know, it wasn't a big stretch for the Chicago Bears to come in here and play this type of offense, because they've been doing this a lot this year. Look at the passes, 12 of 13 under 10 yards. You know, they use it instead of the running game, and they do it well.
2nd and 9. And the flag is out as Bennett's taken off with it near the 20. But it looks like it's coming back. The play went for 23.
Holding. Offense number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
That's Roberto Garza right in the middle, 63. Oh, he's got his arm around Ndamukong Suh. So, good call. You know, the Detroit, the pass rushers all kind of said this to us when we were here on Tuesday watching them. If the coverage is good enough and we can make the quarterback go to the second receiver, we got a chance to get there. But so far today, Jay Cutler is looking, finding the guy open, and letting it go.
First offensive penalty today on the Bears, 2nd and 19. Cutler spinning away, planting the feet, firing it. Almost intercepted. He was looking for Marshall, but Cassius Vaughn was there for the coverage.
Well, I like the idea. Cassius Vaughn, the nickel defensive back. But the initial pass protection was good. Boy, Kyle Long that time helping out against Suh. If he throws this just a little higher, I think Brandon Marshall is going to go up and take the football away.
3rd and 19. Got to get all the way to the Lions 33 for the first. Marshall drops that one.
Ziggy Ansah got pressure on the quarterback. Brandon Marshall coming across the middle. A lot of traffic coming across looking for him. Whitehead, the linebacker. No doubt Brandon Marshall saw him.
So O'Donnell back out. After a beautiful pass last time, it was down at the 5. Ross with the fair catch at the 14. And it's 14-10 Chicago. Midway, 2nd quarter. On the 75th playing of this Thanksgiving Day Classic.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Make Walmart your only place to shop for Black Friday. Your next truck, Ford F-150. And by Game of War. Play free now.
I got to give it to you, partner. You're a great host. Your annual bowling tournament brings all the family together out here on the road.
Yeah, we call it the Turkey Bowl. That was our 19th. Next year is going to be our 20th. Turkey's pretty appropriate, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's so much fun.
But it is
You
a
had
lot of
2
fun.
divisions this year. There's Bob Wishney, who won the big prize, and it's been years in the making for Wish.
Yes, he's been working hard. He's come in second a lot of times, a lot. So the other night he came through big time. I think he rolled in the high 180s for the championship round.
And don't forget about Kevin McHale winning the celebrity division.
The Jim Nance celebrity
I don't know
division.
about that, but
oh, well, you know, that's
what a night. We appreciate
That's great.
what you do for us every year on Tuesday leading into the Thanksgiving game. 1st and 10 for the Lions as Stafford sings it to Johnson, and he's got 10 and a first down. Let's go back down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. Another Bears defensive player injured. Cornelius Washington out for the rest of the game with a chest injury. And keep in mind, this defensive line already without Jeremiah Ratliff and Trevor Scott.
So a few nicks and dings on that Bears defense starting to add up.
Yeah, Cornelius Washington has done a terrific job for him the last few weeks. Outside presence, really athletic.
first catch of the game. Golden Tate. Catch and run for a big gain of 19.
He's found a home here. Gets to do some of the things he did out in Seattle. They like to do that formations. Comes out of the backfield. Comes behind at that time for the rollout pass. He's the perfect match next to Calvin Johnson. He's fast, shifty, tough as they come at the wide receiver position, and having a good year.
And he leads all receivers in yards after the catch. As Bell keeps looking around for a seam. That's pretty good. Able to get 4 out of it. Golden Tate, though, coming over from Seattle, and like I said, he's found a home here. Over 1,000 already on the season.
Yeah, I don't know how many teams were looking at him when he became a free agent out in Seattle, but if you have a good wide receiver, a top-notch, what they call #1 like Calvin Johnson, he's the great complement to it.
He's also #1 in the league, Phil, on 3rd down catches and yardage on 3rd down.
Plays inside.
Straight back.
Like I said, can catch contested footballs. If you're close, he'll go up and take it.
2nd and 6. And they were going back to him. Incomplete. Well, again, next Thursday, the Cowboys and the Bears. They will play back-to-back Thursdays. Dallas and Chicago from Soldier Field. A little Romo Cutler matchup. We'll look forward to bringing you that on NFL Network next Thursday night. Meantime, 3rd down for the Lions. Stafford finds his man. It's Ross to the 20. This is a 31-yard pass play here, Phil.
Beautiful job. Stafford getting really comfortable. Look at everybody around him and stood tall, and boy, delivered another strike. Gets on top of the football. When he does, he gets it there fast, and it's easy to catch because he always throws a perfect spiral. So these receivers, there's nothing they like more. Get it there fast. It's easy to catch when it has no wobble to it.
First down from the Bears 20. And Tate now starting to get into the flow of things with his 3rd catch on this drive. Could be actually his 2nd catch, and it's going to be, it looks like, a little more added on the back end of this against the Bears defense.
Personal foul. Defense number 26. Hit on a defenseless receiver. Half distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Well, yeah, leads with the head, almost launches himself into it. So Tim Jennings, easy call.
Mike Carey's with us in the booth, and Mike, that was an easy one for them to spot, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's one that you don't like to see, too. Ducking his head and hitting him helmet to helmet. Not the greatest of positions to be in.
Move.
1st and goal.
Lead.
Lions trying to take the lead. Over to Tate. Blockers ahead. But then the Bears converge on him at the 5, gain of 3. Bostic the first to get there.
Wow, that was quick. It looks like he might score. And once he makes a move, John Bostic, 57, just flies over there to the left of your screen. He comes in as a extra linebacker in passing situations. Young player, 2nd year. A lot of young, very young defensive players for the Chicago Bears.
Bears defense without Lance Briggs today, inactive with the groin injury. 2nd and goal, and Bell taken for the touchdown. Do have a flag down.
Holding. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Take it off the board.
Getting ready to say this offensive line, we've talked about it, they came through on this drive, but that holding call could be tough to overcome. That's Waddle, the right tackle. Here he is down inside. Yeah, that he reaches out. They really did a terrific job just washing everybody on the defensive side to the left, and Bell made a nice cut back.
Wait.
Sends him all the way back to the 15, 2nd and goal from there. They'll go screen. It's Riddick. Riddick to the 5 and down at the 1. Theo Riddick, the 2nd-year back out of Notre Dame, picks up 14.
Well, Jim, it was knowing what's going on. And by the defense, everybody drops back, watch the linebackers, and they throw the screen underneath. It's the perfect call, and the offensive line both getting out there, good blocks. And that's Paya who reaches from behind and trips him up.
It's 3rd and goal, a yard away with 3 tight ends. Fake to Bell. Stafford rolling, looking, throwing, and incomplete. It's intended for Joseph Fourier. Fourier.
Nobody's fooled. The defense, everybody stays with their guy.
Fourier and Stafford both were hoping for a penalty here.
Yeah, that's a good no call. The football has no chance, and he really basically threw the football away. I think this is a tough spot. I might have kicked the field. I would kick the field goal just because you're not a very good run team. Going to be hard to overpower the defensive front.
Bell up and over for the touchdown.
Well, good aggressive decision by Jim Caldwell.
You know, just last night we were talking about how we don't see that like we used to. Backs just flying over the top of the line like a Marcus Allen used to and others. And here you got it today. Joique Bell.
Man, that's close. He barely made it, but it is a touchdown.
And of course the amazing Walter Payton. How many times did he do that?
Yeah, we were talking to Matt Forte about it, how we don't see it. It's just harder. Defensive linemen get more penetration, get underneath offensive linemen, harder to jump over the pile.
They've confirmed the touchdown. Bell has his 4th of the season, and the Lions have taken the lead for the first time today. So they go, extra points good. They go 25 straight drives without finding the end zone, and now they've done it 2 straight drives. Stafford, 211 yards in the air. Lions lead it.
On behalf of the National Football League and our crew, we would like to wish you and your family a very happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Bill Vinovich and his team, Paul King, Phil McKinley, Rusty Baines, John Jenkins, Jimmy DeBell, and Jim Quirk. And happy Thanksgiving to all of them and their families.
Yeah, it was good to see them all last night. We had dinner together, a big group of people, but you know, Jim, this crowd would probably be they would still be booing if I was the head coach, because I'd have kicked that field goal,
yeah,
and that'd have made a lot of people unhappy. I've done that before, though, so that's okay.
Prater sends it to the back of the end zone. And a knee by Mariani. So 3:18 left in the first half. Cutler comes out trailing by 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL, and by Macy's.
Looking down on the home of the Lions and the home of the Tigers up top. And you look at the NFC North. We're in Detroit today, Green Bay on Sunday, and Chicago a week from today. Our little NFC North tour.
Make a tour, that's us, go around the country.
Green Bay, though, hosting New England come Sunday afternoon, which we'll have for you across the nation. 2 timeouts for the Bears here with 3 and change to go. Tough pass in traffic. It's caught, but it's a loss of 2.
The one thing about screen games as you watch them in this league, as the game goes on, the defense gets the tempo and kind of recognizes it quicker. But one thing, watch this. Look at Darryl Tapp right here. You see these guys, my telestrator kind of went down, but they get way up in the air. They like to explode off the football and get to the quarterback.
2nd and 12, and now rolling out with a flag down. Forte is the backup option and picks up about 4, but we'll check the flag, and it's going to be a hold against the Bears.
But those stances by the Detroit Lions, that is about as extreme as I've ever seen.
Holding. Offense number 63. After this at the goal. Repeat 2nd down.
That's the 2nd one against Garza in this quarter. The Verizon halftime report is coming up with JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Power. We'll have the first half analysis. All coming up on the Verizon halftime report. And we sent along our warmest Thanksgiving Day wishes to everybody back in Studio 43 and in the control room as well. 2nd and 21. Forte thrown down after about a 3-yard gain. Just nothing happening on the ground against this very tough Bears or Lions rush defense.
It's just so hard. Look at Darryl Tapp. Look at that. But I see a lot of guys do it, especially the outside pass rushers. They say they do it. Jim Washburn, the defensive line coach, has had a lot of good defensive lines in his career. Specializes in it, and it's about getting off fast.
Cameron Wake down in Miami. He's another one with a 4-point stance. 2-minute warning. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Calvin Johnson already with a touchdown in this game, and he might be a big part of these last 2 minutes if his defense can hold the Bears here. It's 3rd and 18 for Chicago.
If it's completed, call a timeout. Detroit Lions.
Lions have all of their timeouts. Across the middle screen. And Forte, they give up a few yards, but keep them well short of the first. Gain of 11 and a timeout right away by Detroit, as Chicago will punt right out of the break. Chicago led 14-3 after the first quarter. 2 touchdown passes to Jeffrey. One of them just a short drive after a fumble recovery inside the 10. But Detroit 14-0 second quarter, and they have pretty much dominated things here in this second quarter.
Yeah, the problem for Chicago, all the short passes, they cannot overcome any penalties. So once they get a penalty, it's like the drive is over.
So Donald. Ball's on the ground, and he was hit, but recovered by the Lions. It was Ihedibo out there, and the Bears got Lewis Jean was the one to make the contact right here. Stripped it.
That's awesome. I think it's Perry with
That's
the
actually
hit.
Perry.
Yeah, it was. What a grabbed him and just, that was slow motion, but in real speed. He threw him down so hard. The contact was so flush. That's why he fumbled.
All right, 1:45 to go in the half. 2 timeouts. Calvin Johnson for 10, and that puts him over 10,000 on his career.
You watch Calvin Johnson out there running today, Jim. He looks fast, free, 100% healthy, which he has struggled with this year.
Officials call timeout here. Yeah, you've looked at all the film of Calvin Johnson. I don't think either one of us thought he'd come out here looking like this today, this sharp, this free.
Yeah, short, weak. You know, he's such a big guy. Every bit of 6'5", maybe taller. You know, he's not a skinny wide receiver either, so it's so much punishment on a guy like this running down the field, falling and hitting the ground, always catching the ball a lot of times in the middle where he gets a lot of contact.
It's actually second and a short one. Nice catch, Riddick. Back to first and a whole lot more. Down to 36.
You see this a lot against the Bears. Hold the football, let the defense expand and go backwards, throw it underneath. Nice catch by Riddick.
Yeah, Riddick is quite a receiver out of the backfield. Won the game for the Lions last time they were at home against Miami in the final minute with a catch. Calvin again. This time, short game. The ball did for a moment come out of his hands, but the signal, it stays with Detroit. And the clock continues to run, and the Lions continue to hold on to their 2 timeouts.
Yeah, they're good. Time is not a problem yet. Really, it's a good job of going ahead and making sure no time is left for Chicago.
2nd and 4. Down the middle, Tate to the 6. And there's the timeout by Detroit. 28 seconds to go. 1st and goal to go. You know, Stafford's already had 269 yards here in the first half, Phil.
Yeah, watch him here. He's going to look a little to his right, turns and just rips it in there. And Joe Lombardi talked about, we got to get our quarterback comfortable. What do you think? Pretty comfortable looking right now, isn't he?
Boy, I would say 21 of 25.
Look at the plays down the field.
It's the 3rd most yardage he's ever had in a first half. Of course, the fastest ever to 20,000 yards on a career, just 71 games in. Just 28 seconds. 1st and goal from the 6. Stafford. End zone bound. Touchdown. Touchdown, Calvin Johnson.
Usually it's a jump ball against the rookie. Kyle Fuller got that cast on the hand. Looks like his feet are in as he has control of the football. Yeah, the ball's not moving.
2nd touchdown of the game for Megatron. 9 catches and 109 yards.
So he beat Kyle Fuller so fast he threw it up the field, didn't even have to throw him a jump ball. Chicago finally blitzed. It was too late.
And now the Lions have started another streak. The 25 straight drives without a touchdown. Now 3 straight drives to the end zone. We're back in Detroit with a reminder we're heading to New York here in just a short while with the Verizon halftime report. As JB and all the crew take you through the first half and preview the rest of today's Thanksgiving action coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Well, the Bears just waited too long that time. Just let them go right down the field. They blitzed the last play. Easy touchdown.
Sam Martin handles the kickoff. And Mariani will bring it out. Wallop near the 16. Well, Calvin Johnson was able to beat Kyle Fuller, but I'm not sure he's run into a defensive back like Jimmy Kimmons, our very own. Wow. This is one of the best defenders you could ever find right here with the camera on his shoulder.
And down he goes. You know what Jimmy did when he got up? He said, "Thank you, sir. I loved it." Don't you think?
Oh, don't question.
Yeah. Yeah.
He likes the contact.
He definitely likes the contact.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Unharmed and back to work. And a kneel down and halftime has arrived. Detroit puts up 21 in the second quarter. 21 unanswered after being down 14-3 after 1.
I think the Bears need to go in at halftime and revise their game plan on both sides of the ball.
That's the end of the first half with the score. Detroit 24, Chicago 14. And we're back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, that Lions offense, which had been sputtering for a couple of games, got back in gear in that second quarter, put up 3 touchdowns on its last 3 possessions. And let's take a look at the Bows game changer. And I'll tell you, there's no bigger game changer than a guy like Calvin Johnson, who's over 100, including a couple of touchdowns in this first half of this game. Boy, the Bears got off to the big start that they had been seeking for a long time, led 14-3 after 1. Then what happened?
Well, the Lions caught fire. A couple things the Bears, I think, have to do, Jim, to get back in this game in the second half. Bill Cowher said it right at halftime. Play action. Give Jay Cutler more time so he can make some big plays, because when you try to make all those short plays down the field, you're going to make a mistake. A penalty stopped them twice. And on defense, they got to get more aggressive, plain and simple. Play the way you did in the first half. Matthew Stafford's going to pick you apart.
All right, the first half numbers and some big numbers posted by Matthew Stafford. 275 yards passing on 22 of 26. And the 2 touchdown throws to Megatron. Cutler, by the way, 14 out of 19, 107 and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. You guys just mentioned it. I had a chance to speak with Mark Trestman coming out of the locker room. He said the penalties once again hurt them. The 3rd and 1 hurt them. And he said the #1 key in this half is keeping the defense off the field. And they need to do that by trying to mix up the runs and the passes. And then I spoke with Jim Caldwell going into half, and he told me that his players, they're just playing the way they should have been playing the last 2 games. They have the players to get hot. They need to continue to do that in the second half.
All right, Tracy.
Well, Jim, let's look at the first half for the Lions offense, and I'll show you a couple of things. One, that they did well. Zone coverage, look at the spaces to throw the football into, and Matthew Stafford protection right on target. But also notice down the field again against the zone, nobody is really redirecting these receivers. So they got a free run. They can get wherever they want, and they got an excellent quarterback when it comes to throwing the football to them.
Here's the Lions receiving corps. Theo Riddick coming out of the backfield and catching a couple of balls, and one of which set up the last touchdown. But Calvin Johnson needed 94 yards to reach 10,000 for his decorated career. And he accomplished that in the first half. Again, 109 total for Calvin Johnson, not showing any signs of a tender ankle.
Boy, he has. He's looked healthy.
And how about Thanksgiving Day performances? This is updated now with the 2 touchdowns today. This being his 8th appearance on Thanksgiving Day, 8 touchdowns.
Well, again, the problem, his numbers, of course, would be spectacular if his quarterback had more time this year. And, of course, he got hurt for a couple games. But I want to go back to Jim Caldwell. How about that comment to Tracy? Hey, this is the way we should have been playing it all year long. And he was really confident talking to us on Tuesday. He goes, we had our bad stretch. He goes, we're ready. And he says, our time is right now. You know, he says, we got enough talent here to get hot and carry this thing through the rest of the year. So tremendous confidence by the head coach and the players that they're done with that little lull. Now they're going to get it going.
Yeah, we have the people who can get hot at the right time. Of course, Caldwell knows all about a team getting hot at the right time. He was on that Ravens staff, the coordinator there, when they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago and went into the playoffs having lost 4 of the last 5. Then all of a sudden they got hot. And once you think about Reggie Bush, if he could get healthy come December, well, now you're talking about another playmaker in the mix. Sam Martin's kick down in the end zone by Mariani. Here's what Chicago did in that first half. Marched right down the field the first time they had it. All passes the 6 plays. And Jeffrey then took the screen pass to the end zone for the touchdown. They punted, but then forced a fumble as Jared Allen stripped the ball away from Stafford and recovered it. Set up another touchdown throw to Jeffrey.
Also, what a job Mark Trestman's going to try to do both things this half. Of course, score, but try to protect his defense. That's awfully hard as a play caller.
Over to Marshall. What a tackle that was by Slay. Darius Slay holds him to 1.
Yep, as this game has gone along, these screen passes are getting tougher and getting less yardage. But you know, to think that you're going to come out and run the football and kind of balance this, I don't think that's going to happen. There's a reason why the Detroit Lions are #1 in the NFL against the run. They got a middle linebacker, or a linebacker, not a middle linebacker. Levy, DeAndre Levy, is just an incredible tackler.
2nd and 9. And again, a short throw to Forte. They're going to be about 4 yards short of the first. Forte has already in this game broken his own Bears franchise record for most catches by a running back. He's now up to 77 on the season.
When you try to nitpick your way down the field, that means you got to pick up 3rd downs, and you really can't make any mistakes. And we saw 2 drives stall because of penalties, and then a 3rd and 1 where they did not pick it up either.
We'll call it 3rd and 5. Bears trying to do something here to get the second half started on an up note. And they're going to have that first down with Bennett. Martellus Bennett left open. And he picks up 12 and the first down out to the 37.
Well, Jay Cutler staying pretty active in the pocket. Again, a little game. Ziggy Ansah almost gets back there, but Martellus Bennett not able to. Of course, he's a terrific tight end, but too many times when you watch the Bears, he's always helping the tackle, hitting the guy, trying to slow pass rushers down, and they can't take advantage of the fact that he can run down the field and make big plays.
First down, Cutler. That pass knocked down by Mathis. Mathis with the tight coverage on Marshall.
Yeah, really good job. Looked like from up here, he just ripped his hand back or his arm. Little fake corner like he's going to go outside and then come back inside. I don't know if he did it or not. Might have just hit him in the chest and bounced off.
It's the second drop of the game actually on Marshall. They opened the game with 6 straight pass plays. They opened this second half with 4 consecutive. Make it 5 if we can get this one up. No, he's taken down instead. Llewellyn with the sack.
Well, there's nobody in the backfield, so we know it's going to be a pass, and you got to get rid of the football quickly. And Jay Cutler takes a second look, and that second look, that's when you get sacked against the Detroit Lions.
First sack of the game for Detroit.
Let's see if anybody's open. They're throwing quick passes, slants. Nope, nobody was open. The inside defender fell off under Brandon Marshall. That's why there was nowhere to throw it to.
3rd and 18. Cutler, middle of the field to Jeffrey, and they pick up the first down. How about Alshon Jeffrey being that wide open on 3rd and 18, picks up 26.
Really good job, pass protection. It's a zone. Look at everybody looking at the quarterback. So Jay Cutler, no linebacker, gets in the middle to stop the in cut. And look at the pass protection. They kept an extra guy in. Matt Forte looking to see if anybody gets by an offensive lineman quick. Gave Jay Cutler extra time.
26 yards, the longest play of the game for Chicago. Forte just shovels it over to Bennett, incomplete. He knew he was about to incur a second sack on this drive, so he just dumped it off. Ansah was all over him.
Well, they can't say enough good things about Ziggy Ansah. Second year outside pat. Boy, that's close. Got to gets rid of it, but boy, you got to be careful on how you handle the football. Jay Cutler has fumbled 11 times so far this year.
He had lost 6 of them. Second and 10. Nice catch that time by Marshall. Reaches down to grab it right in front of Levy. It'll be 3rd and 3 coming up for Chicago.
Well, in the NFL, if you can't throw off your back leg, you're not going to be a successful quarterback. And Jay Cutler always, it seems like now, getting pressure. Just watching. They're going to get in front of him, so he just kind of fades back. protects yourself and still able to put it on target.
Haven't handed it off to a running back on this drive. 8 plays, all pass plays, 7 attempts and a sack. They've converted twice on this drive on 3rd down. They face it again, 3rd and 3. Pick it up again with Jeffrey. And Slay was trying to strip it from him, and he waited for some help to bring him down. Gain of 14.
Off coverage on the outside blitz. They had the perfect pass protection on, and once again, Cutler got rid of the football fast.
Again, all they've called so far are pass plays.
Well, they're being balanced. Because we just got to all the screens, we just got to count them as runs because that's what they're doing.
1st down, throw again. And that's Jeffrey. He had Bynes all over him. Gain of 3, maybe 4. Well, they haven't been able to run the ball at all when they tried to in the first half. Chicago had 7 carries for 11 yards in the first half.
Well, I think we knew the game plan when they said running just might, it's just a waste of down.
Fights for yardage within a couple of the first.
You know, I like my chances with what they just did there, Jim. You know, you got big receivers. Let them catch it, let them fall forward. It's like a good 3 or 4 yard run inside.
Taking up nearly 6 minutes to start the 3rd quarter. Setting a record for wide receiver screens today, it seems. 3rd and 3. And over the head of Bennett. And now they'll go to the field goal unit, trying to get it within 1 score.
If you play quarterback, just watch the initial surge. It just, they get back there so quick, it makes you go, wow, I don't have much time. And you know what? He doesn't. So if that first receiver that he looks at, Jim, if he's not open, hard to find the second guy.
How about Robbie Gould? One of the best for a long time. Has gone 5 games since he last made a field goal. 3 of those 5 games, he didn't even have an attempt. He last made a field goal October the 12th in Atlanta. This from 35 yards. And back in the field goal business. Robbie Gould trims the Lions lead to 7. From 35 out. Now let's take a look at today's nationwide Skycam. Well, the Lions had gone 9 straight Thanksgiving days without a win. 9 straight losses came to an end last year when they thumped Green Bay 40-10. Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers that day. Up 7 in this one. On the return, Ross bounces off the hit. Takes the pile out at about the 16, maybe the 17.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The Dodge Brothers. 100 years later, their spirit lives on. And by Old Spice Body Spray. Is a sentence I was paid to say into a microphone.
The Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, currently featuring Gridiron Glory special exhibit. And the special man is remembered with these football patches, these jersey patches. William Clay Ford, who passed away back in March at the age of 88. Ford Field became the home of the Lions back in 2002. Here's Stafford. And that's in and out of the hands of Ebron. You look at how the Lions handled the first half with touchdown drives the last 3 times they had it. Stafford, 275 yards. That's the second most he's ever had in an opening half, and he completed 84% which is a career high for him as far as first half accuracy.
I think the big thing for this Bears defense, will they change up a little and try to disrupt these receivers going down the field? It's not really their style, but what they've been doing has not worked.
2nd and 10, and run it up the middle with Bell for about 2. Got a lot of college football coming your way the next couple of days. The SEC on CBS heating up your holiday. The Razorbacks tangling with the Tigers. That's tomorrow. And then Saturday, the Egg Bowl. Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Postseason dreams and bowl dreams on the line there. Third and 7 for Detroit. Stafford felt the pressure coming and just threw it over the head of a receiver on the right side. He had Will Sutton coming after him. So real quick series it was for the Lions on the first handle of the second half.
That and a quick series for this defense, and that's what they needed. Mark Trestman called plays, had a long opening drive, gives that defense more rest. Remember, he talked about it, how hard it is to kind of do both. He likes being the head coach and calling plays because he can protect his defense if he needs to.
To Mariani. Mariani's going to have a chance to return one. And a 9-yard run back it is for Mariani. Just signed back on the 18th of November after a 51-yard punt. All right, the Bears down 7, come back out. NFL athletes grew up playing in communities all across America. Now through NFL Play 60, they're encouraging kids in neighborhoods everywhere to come out and play for 60 minutes a day and to learn how NFL stars played as kids. To find great play ideas, visit NFLrush.com/play60 as you saw the Lions teaming up with some of the Detroit area kids. Play 60. They were thanking some of our troops in attendance here during that last break. Let's see what Cutler and the Bears can do here, Phil. Down a touchdown, mid-third quarter. Looked sharp the first time they had it in the third. It's Cutler. Airs it out long in the double coverage. And it's broken up. Alshon Jeffrey, who had 3 catches on the last series, was again Cutler's target.
Well, they tried to give him extra protection. What'd they do? They brought in a lineman, Charles Lindell Jr. He plays the right side. And because he's here, Jay Cutler rolls that way and gets the extra time, but nobody opened down the field. Good thought process. But the Lions were ready for it.
Have a Slay with the good coverage. 2nd and 10 for Chicago. Toss it over to Forte. He knows where that marker is, and the spot looks like it's right on it.
When you watch that last play and you see that little stutter step or whatever, that wiggle, it looked just like Marcus Allen to me.
Yeah.
He comes out of the backfield, and I asked him that last night. He says quite a few people say that to him. That little stutter step right there, glider. In other words, he makes it look easy, but he covers a lot of ground and much faster than you think.
His coach was praising him yesterday, just called him exceptional. Mark Trestman saying he's consistent every day in practice and on game day. And here is Forte as they try to run it for the first time of the second half. Levy's helmet comes off. They hold him to 1.
Let's watch Kyle Long, right guard, against Ndamukong Suh. Excellent job. Here's another one. Stays in front. Man, look at the technique. Unbelievable. But then on the other side, these kind of games really gave the Bears trouble. That's one thing you notice when teams do the twist by the defensive linemen. The Bears lately have had trouble picking them up.
Here's a 2nd and 8. Oh, and it should have been caught by Bennett. He was starting to pivot and get ready to turn up field and never got a clean handle on the football.
Well, when you're going to run this style of offense, you have to be almost perfect. You got to throw and catch all these passes underneath. Why? Because you don't want to be in a situation like this. 3rd and 8. Could have been 3rd and 3.
Cutler mixing things up. From the gun. Right side. What a catch. The Lions side says no catch. The officials agree. That was Wilson who tried to come down with it.
Yep, good idea. Just throws it outside, and the push by Slay drives him out of bounds.
Boy, I tell you, his left hand was almost in.
Almost. But the hand.
Got the left foot down.
Right.
And nope. Punting time for the Bears. Angles this one. Demands a fair catch by Jeremy Ross. 42 yards, but with a flag.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 52. After this is a goal, Detroit keeps the ball, 1st down.
And that will put the football inside of the 5 for Detroit. Inside 6 minutes to go in the 3rd, and the Lions are leading it by 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. And by Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind.
As you see the Motown Museum, Hitsville, USA, just 4 miles from Ford Field. Next time you come to Detroit, you must see it. That was originally the home of Berry Gordy and some iconic musicians coming out of there, from Smokey Robinson, who voiced our tease today, to Aretha Franklin, the Supremes, Dinah Ross. The 4 Tops, they all recorded in that very studio you saw. As Bell carries it out to about the 7, maybe the 8. And again, Bell getting the heavy work today, as Reggie Bush expected to play up to really last night. We were hearing all kinds of ways that he was going to be worked into the game plan, but ends up being a late scratch, inactive with his ankle still not fully recovered enough to play.
Well, they've overcome the fact they got off to a slow start that first series, and I know they had Reggie Bush was going to be a big part, but they have found ways to get the football to Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson.
2nd and 8. Throw it over to Riddick. And Riddick. It's within about 3 of the 1st. Again, the Cowboys and the Bears, Soldier Field, will be there next Thursday night, Phil, on NFL Network. They played last December in Chicago, and it was brisk.
Yes, I remember that game. And of course, the Cowboys in that rushing attack. We'll see how it works in the cold in that field at Soldier Field.
It's next Thursday night on NFL Network. 3rd and 4.
22. 22. Ready. Waiting.
Threading that one to Tate. That was very tight.
Oh, Demontre Hurst can't believe it. He's going to be the defender outside. Watch him read the quarterback. He breaks, and he just misses it. The reason he missed it is because Matthew Stafford just threw it hard.
Yeah, there was some heat behind that one. Detroit has his first down of the 2nd half. But this
Again, they were up there. It looked like they were going to play tight coverage. They let everybody run free, so they got right to the spot quickly and picked up the first down.
Fake to Bell. And hits Johnson in stride out to the 38-yard line.
Well, we talked about this offensive line, and they had a spell there in the first half where they were not very good. Off coverage, just running free. Man, you know, it's just too tough.
Wow, Allen got around Pettigrew.
Hey. But you know, that's what a guy like Jared Allen needs, that second look by the quarterback, and he is not getting it. Doesn't have enough time to get to Stafford.
Gain of 21 to Megatron. 1 yard for Bell. That Bears defense has been going most of the day without Chris Conti, who was injured at the start of the game.
But to go back, the two free agent tackles have done a pretty dang good job since the middle of the first quarter.
Let's get an update on Conti. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. We saw in that first half that Conti was taken into the locker room to be evaluated for a concussion, but I was just told it is an eye injury that is going to keep him out for the rest of this game.
All right, defensive coordinator Mel Tucker needs his defense to clamp down, unlike what happened in the second quarter. Another Stafford completion to Riddick, who now has come out of the backfield with 4 catches.
Well, Jim, let's go. You know, you're a quarterback. You look out there, and nobody is bumping the receivers. And there's the receiver, comes down, go to take, and just nobody there. Easy throw and catch in this game.
Yeah, Riddick that time lining up in the slot instead of the backfield.
But not only that, you know, as a quarterback, he knew what the coverage was going to be. You could look guys off.
Goes down and somehow again able to get it in the hands of Tate into tight coverage.
That wasn't the design of the play. He was going to roll out and throw this football in rhythm, but pulls it down. And how about Golden Tate? We saw that so much last year in Seattle. He's just so tough. He did it at Notre Dame, and he's not afraid to get hit. He'll go up and fight for the football.
He's now got 6 catches for 78 yards. That one was good for 22.
Whatever they're paying him, it was worth it.
Bell slips through the right side. His best run of the game. Goes for 11. He got away from Shea McClellan.
He did. Good double team inside. Travis Swanson did a nice job at the right guard position. It's a knockdown, gets up on McClellan just enough where he can't get off and make that tackle. Kind of go back quickly to that third down pass where Hurst couldn't get there and knock it down. The Lions taking advantage of it.
And Cutler's sideline now for a while as the Lions have picked up 5 first downs on this series. Here's the pass over the head of everyone, but it draws a flag.
Yeah, that might be against the Lions.
Fuller was back there defending. Calvin Johnson was the receiver.
I think he was back there because he got pushed.
Calvin Johnson made an appeal. Now Jared Allen trying to lend some expertise. Bill Vinovich has the answer.
There's no foul for pass interference. The ball was not catchable. Second down.
Mike Carey, they say this was not a catchable ball, no flag.
Well, this is one of those plays that you have multiple officials having different looks. But you see the DB could almost get there after the contact. Probably the receiver could have gotten there too. Might have been one you want to stay with.
Yeah, it was a definite push-off. Definitely, Matthew Stafford thought it was a different coverage. That's why he threw it up the field.
Final half minute of the third quarter. 2nd and 10, and dragged down is Stafford, but Willie Young is going to be flagged here.
Unfortunate. What a pass rush by the ex-Detroit line, Willie Young.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 97. Contact to the head. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Signed with the Bears in free agency after spending his first 4 years here in Detroit.
On the outside, 97. Man, that was vicious. The pass rush it is I'm talking about. He pulls him down by the helmet. That's why it's a personal foul.
Almost ripped the helmet off. Sets up the Lions at the 9. 1st and goal to go. Ball tipped at the line. Hey, Willie Young, all those years of going against Stafford in practice when he wore a red jersey, he's been waiting 5 years to lay a hand on him.
Yeah, you know, something like that, you know, it's just you're unlucky as a defensive lineman. Of course, he knows it's a foul. Nice job by Sutton knocking the football down. The Bears, 2 plays, that sack nullified and the offensive pass interference nullified. Big plays against this defense really hurt them.
4 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
Can they keep him to a field goal?
Here's Stafford. Straight back and throws near the goal line and stops short. Moreeeee was the man who came down with it, but he did not break the plane. Moreeeee comes up to put the hit on him. You can see that football. Boy, it's close, but it appears to have never quite crossed. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS. This was a moment ago into the 3rd quarter. Joseph Moreeeee makes the catch, and there's a second effort here to try to cross the plane. Ruling on the field as he's down at the 1. It has not, to this point, we've not seen a challenge flag thrown onto the field by the Lions. If at any point it just touches, if you will, theoretically, that white line, Moreeeee knows he was that close to having a Thanksgiving Day touchdown. So the Lions going to let the play stand. They're not going to issue a challenge.
Well, Matthew Stafford had a big quarterback sneak to win a game for him this year. Will he quick snap it and try to go over the top himself?
3rd and goal. It's Bell. He breaks outside, and it's a touchdown, Detroit. Bell's 2nd touchdown of the game.
Good adjustment by Bell. Everybody down inside expecting the inside run. Read it. Really good drive by the Detroit Lions, and the no pass interference call was huge against the Chicago Bears.
Part of a 95-yard touchdown drive that took over 6 minutes and 12 plays to get down the field. Prater adds the extra point. 31-17. Joy Bell into the end zone for the 2nd time today.
Stephen, you are the first recipient of the Phil Simms Ironman Award.
He epitomized everything you want to see in a football player.
That's what hard work gets you right here.
He was everything we wanted the award to stand for. We want to give you some of my mom's homemade blackberry cobbler.
Oh, the Cloud Club.
Yes, some of the memories from the Phil Simms All-Iron Award, which is back. And you can vote now at CBSSports.com. The most valuable player award of the game.
Yeah, go on and vote. We're going to give the fans 50% of the vote this time around. That was a good. My mom is sitting home smiling right now.
Yeah.
Tom Brady goes, oh my gosh, that's good.
she just loved making that cobbler every year, and we sent along
you know,
our warmest Thanksgiving wishes to our moms.
that's right.
Yours down in Louisville, mine down in Houston. Yeah, here's some of the past history.
Stephen Boyd was the greatest the first time we ever did it.
Peyton Manning, by the way, when he won it, his coordinator was Jim Caldwell.
Jim Caldwell, six touchdowns. Tony Romo, man, many times. Tom Brady had I think a 6-touchdown day too, right? When he was here, did he throw 6 touchdowns? No.
Yeah, I don't remember it that way.
Yeah, my memory's not as sharp as it used to be.
We've been in some games where he's thrown 6.
Yeah.
The one against Tennessee and one against Denver in a playoff game. We were present. Oh, almost into the arms of Jason Jones. By the way, you said that fans get 50% of the vote as you see Jones almost making the interception. Who gets the other 50%?
Us.
Oh, okay.
Our crew.
I didn't
Yes.
know. Okay.
Yes, you get the vote in on it. But you know, you look at this Chicago Bears offense, takes so many plays to get down the field. Now, Detroit, they weren't worried about the run before, and they will have no second thoughts, all efforts going to the quarterback.
Brady had a 4-touchdown game here on Thanksgiving when he won the award. Here's his 2nd and 10, and Bennett will give him a new set of downs out at the 37. I'm just glad to be somewhere in that 50 percentile that will get a chance to have a voice.
I include everybody. You know that. I'm a man of the people.
You always have been. You're stealing my lines now.
Yeah, I know I am.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good job. Jay Cutler finally had a little space in front of him. You know, in situations like this, defensive lineman, you got to be disciplined. Stay where you're supposed to stay in front of the quarterback.
Cutler taken down. That's Jones, who almost had the pick a couple of plays ago. Gets the sack on this occasion.
Well, nobody back there to help Jay Cutler or to help the offensive line. Jordan Mills worried about the speed outside. He's out of the lineup the last couple of weeks, and Jason Jones, just another good pass rusher for the Lions.
3rd sack of the season for Jones. 2nd of the day for Detroit. Second and 18 now for the Bears. As Cutler goes way down the field. Intended for Jeffrey. Well, they had just picked up that 1st down on the throw to Bennett. The sack by Jones takes a little steam out of things for the Chicago Bears. And now you can hear the roar inside this Lions den. Josh Morgan's come in as an extra receiver for this 3rd and 18. Cutler buying time, and look at Levy knock it away. Beautifully covered up. He was on Forte.
Yeah, DeAndre Levy, just a terrific linebacker. Reminds you a lot of Luke Kuechly down in Carolina. And he is good in all phases. Just plays with great instincts. Always stays on the field. Good pass defense.
Cutler having completed now just 2 of his last 9. Another beautiful booming punt. And that's Ross. Brought down by Perry. 61 yards, again matching a season long. That last drive by the Lions that led to a touchdown. The first 95-yard drive since 2009 for them.
Hi, I'm Rob Sims with Detroit Lions. This is my wife, Natalie, my daughter, Michaela, and my son, Scoop. On behalf of our family and the Detroit Lions, we want to wish you Happy Thanksgiving.
What a nice family, and one of the better family Thanksgiving greetings we've ever had from the Sims family. And there he is, lined up As the Lions start this next series, Sims the left guard. Number 67. That's Tate. What a shifty move that was to pick up the first. He was able to fake out Ryan Monday and pick up 11.
Yeah, I think that was a run play, and they were off. So the defense was off, so he threw it out there quick. That's tough to do, to shake NFL defensive backs where they don't even touch you.
That's why he's number 1 in the league, yards after the catch. Seen it a couple of times today.
You're 2 scores down. You can only give so much on this drive.
Monday this time is not going to be faked out. Makes the tackle, gain of 2.
And what I mean, Jim, you just can't give up yards. A field goal beats you. Soft coverage, zone. Look how easy. Safety's back. Easy throw for Stafford. And look at this, way off. Play action fake. Nobody between Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson. And you know, this defense, it worked well the last couple weeks. When you look at Minnesota and Tampa Bay, they're young offenses. They don't have that established quarterback and receiving core like Matt Stafford, Calvin Johnson.
2nd and 8. There it is. Just what you diagram. Calvin Johnson with his 11th catch.
But this is the style what the Chicago Bears play. They don't hit the wide receivers off to the line of scrimmage. And boy, Calvin Johnson loves it.
Now 11 for 146 yards and a pair of touchdowns. And you look at all time, at least 100 games in competition, Calvin has the highest average yards per game for any receiver.
Great list here.
All time.
Torrey Holt, Jerry Rice, my gosh.
Andre Johnson. And there is Bell for 2. By the way, the Thanksgiving Day triple header continues later today on Fox and NBC. We pass along our holiday wishes to the crews that will be bringing you games from Dallas and San Francisco. Joe and Troy and Al and Chris and all their production and technical teams.
Bears got to stop somewhere. You got to take a chance.
2nd and 8. Knocked down. Perfectly timed by Willie Young.
Well, Willie Young. Of course, you know, when you come back to a team that you played for, that is a tremendous motivation. Over the right tackle, keeps moving. And that kind of stops. That knockdown was huge. Stopped the first down. I think that was Golden Tate wide open over the middle.
And this is a huge 3rd down for this Bears defense. With 10.5 remaining.
Well, it looks like they're giving the blitz look. This is what they love to do. A guy on each side of the center. Both linebackers.
Incomplete. In and out of the arms of Calvin Johnson. Somehow Stafford got it away before DeMontre Hurst just flattened him.
He is a magician when it comes to throwing the football under pressure like that. To still get that kind of power on it. But the blitz lets him get there quick enough, and he felt it, and it was just far enough off target to make it incomplete and keeps the Bears in the game.
Yep, Lions have to punt from the Bears 46. Lions are down there to cover it up. Oh, what a beautiful punt, too. Sam Martin. Don Carey is the one who eventually downed it. After 43 yards, Martin gets it done.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bose, official sound of the NFL. The all-new Volkswagen Golf family, 2015 Motor Trend Car of the Year, and by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
We're back in Detroit. The world champion Bears back in 1934, coached by George Halas, came to Detroit and beat the Lions on Thanksgiving Day at University of Detroit Stadium. That was the first ever Thanksgiving Day game. And it was these two very franchises. Now the Bears down. 2 touchdowns, 10 minutes to play. In some ways, it's a fight for their season right now, Phil.
Yes, I think you could think of it that way, Jim. So many teams in the NFC have a 2-game lead on the Chicago Bears. The margin of error very slim.
We just look inside their own division. A couple of games behind the Lions, and there's Green Bay at 8-3. But you think about the wild card, you know, second teams from divisions that are going to get in. Just think about Dallas and Philadelphia, their records right now at 8-3. You got the West, and you got very highly qualified teams, much better records than the Bears. And here's Cutler off his back foot going down the field, and it is intercepted on the rebound by Quinn. First deflected by Slay, and the Lions defense has the takeaway.
Well, he's just so off balance to make this throw, and the receiver's right in front of him to pick up the first down. And because he was off balance, the throw was short, and Slay tips it up in the air.
Slay tips it. Marshall couldn't make a play on it. He was falling backwards, and Quinn
he's
definitely in bounds.
But you know, Cutler, there was a receiver right in front of him, but he's thinking, I didn't want to go short. Tries to go deep. Here's Brandon Marshall. Let's all watch who's underneath. Tight end, running back, took a chance. Boy, good job by Quinn reading the quarterback, balls in the air, hustled over there and made the interception.
His 4th interception of the season. The former safety of the Houston Texans. He was in this game a couple of years ago, but on the other side when the Texans won in overtime here. Set up screen to Riddick. Down to the 37, and another 5. You saw the division, NFC North. Here's the overall playoff picture in the NFC. The division leaders, Arizona, Green Bay, well, Philadelphia and Dallas, both at 8-3. They're next up. Atlanta at 4-7, leading that NFC South. For Seattle and San Francisco later tonight. It's still hard to believe you look at a team with that record leading a division, though. Atlanta 4-7.
Yeah, it's tough to look at, but it's also fascinating to watch to see who can string a couple victories together. Lions probably just a few yards away from field goal range.
2nd and 5, and it's Bell. Oh, and he gets pushed forward. He ran over Monday at first and then gets bounced forward for 7 and a first down.
Yeah, you said it right. Sims pulls around, nice kickoff, kick-out block.
Bostic actually ended up unwittingly pushing him forward, trying to make the tackle. And as upside down as things are in that one division with Atlanta leading the NFC South, their crossover opponent this year in interconference play, the AFC North, you got all 3 teams at least 3 games over 500. Can't wait to see how that one works out. He's 1st and 10, and sidestepping the pressure. Stafford this time is hit by Allen.
It's a good job of not throwing it away by Matthew Stafford. And one thing I've noticed about him this year, he is moving around more to get out of trouble. Willie Young just right around. Beautiful move. And he's a little more mobile than we all give him credit for, but he's been on the run a couple games, Tim, and twice I've seen him win the game by moving and throwing the football for touchdowns. The last one, of course, against the Miami Dolphins here a few weeks ago.
Yeah, when he was running to his left and he found Riddick in the end zone. That's a sack by Allen. Setting up 2nd and 12. They fake the end around to Tate. And it's Bell. 2 yards short of the first. Stafford has such a unique throwing motion. We talked to him about it, Phil, and he's just, you know, he doesn't really know how he learned how to throw the football with such velocity. He was a baseball player. We know that.
Right.
And he thinks his having played both shortstop and catcher both had an influence on his throwing motion in football.
Well, you know, I'll just say this. He was born to throw. He was going to make a living somewhere, if it was in baseball, football, whatever. But it's very natural. He was a terrific shortstop You can see it the way he gets leverage, can stand on his right foot, make all those throws. It just has an unbelievable, outstanding arm.
Here he is throwing on 3rd and 2, and almost turning around to make the grab was Johnson.
He could take a chance here, go for the touchdown. We said it, they're definitely in field goal range. Boy, nice coverage that time down the full field by Fuller. Yeah, Calvin Johnson didn't quite make the decision to look for the back shoulder throw quick enough. And he threw a laser down there. Would have been hard to catch no matter what.
Tim Jennings shaken up the corner for the Bears.
You know what? Few times, Jim, we've talked about it a lot. When the Bears corners have played man-to-man and bumped, they've been all over the wide receivers. Just like that last play. That was absolutely perfect coverage.
You're talking about how much velocity, how much heat that pass had that Stafford threw to Johnson.
Right.
He was a childhood friend and schoolmate of Clayton Kershaw, the 3-time Cy Young Award winner.
Well, go ahead. What did you say at our meeting? You go, you know, he told us that 2 years ago. But
no.
you know, I wasn't. You know,
I didn't really realize how just brilliant this guy was going to be.
Yeah. Well, he hadn't won enough Cy Youngs yet. So
three will do it.
Yeah, 3 get a mention.
And this is for a 3-score lead. With the kick from 40 yards out is good. And now they've doubled up the Bears at 34-17. Here we go.
What a throw! Touchdown! How did he do it?
Rodgers going up top.
Oh, what a throw!
Can you believe it?
It is unbelievable.
Yes. Here we go. Sunday afternoon, the national doubleheader game. We'll have it. New England at Green Bay on CBS. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Both teams healthy, playing really well. Both quarterbacks have offensive lines in front of them that give them time to throw and operate. Of course, it's Lambeau Field, which is pretty special also. I think I'm really curious to see what will the Patriots do on offense. Will they throw it every down, or will they try to run it over them? They seem to have extremes one way or the other.
That's Mariani taking a knee. And again, this 75th edition. It all goes back to this day, November 29th, 1934. There's a man who hatched the idea for this very occasion that lives on all these Thanksgivings later. What a genius, George Richards. Absolute brilliant idea. Love his favorite creation, the Thanksgiving Day game. He was the owner of the Lions. Came up with the idea, let's play on Thanksgiving Day, and here it lives all these years later.
Yep.
Now with a great triple header. And the first of 3 down to 6:16 to go. And a sack again. Ansah.
From the outside, they make, since they crowded the line of scrimmage, the offensive line had to block one way, and there you go, a little turkey dance. Oh, man.
He's ready to feast.
Did the turkey and eat the turkey, but wow, that protection put the running back Forte on Ziggy onside, no chance.
3rd sack for the Lions. All coming in this half. And Cutler saw more pressure. You see George Johnson slow to his feet. You're going to, in fact, take an official's timeout as George Johnson gets some attention down on the field.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by new Amazon Fire TV Stick, the most powerful streaming stick. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
We're back in downtown Detroit. And the Lions up 34-17. This whole restoration of downtown Detroit, it is very noticeable. Great vibe here in Detroit.
No question. You can tell a difference from 2 years ago when we came here. Here we go, 3rd and long. Down 3 scores.
3rd and 19 is how long it is. Bennett with Levy just throwing him out of bounds.
No.
You don't think they go for it here on 4th down, do you?
No, I don't think they do, because they're down 3 scores. If it was 2, maybe they would take a chance. I think if they'd have picked up more yards, even on that little short pass, they might have thought about it, but.
Yeah, 4th and 13 is the situation. Fair catch. Ross, 39-yard line. Again, we will see the Bears next Thursday, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Thursday Night Football returns to NFL Network next week. Dallas and Chicago.
And when you watch the Bears, when they play at Soldier Field, they are a different football team. Of course, they're home, their crowd, but I think their field, it's just like it favors them so much. And that's not an easy adjustment when you go into Chicago, have to get used to that grass. It's not the fastest surface in the NFL.
Handoff, Bell, straight ahead for 3. Inside 5 minutes to play. For the Lions, about to go to 8-4. On the season. They actually, this is the first leg of a 3-game homestand. Timeout called Chicago. So 2 more home games to follow before they close out the regular season on the road at Chicago. Second matchup between these two, and at Green Bay.
Well, they play 3 teams in a row with a losing record. You know, coaches never get ahead of what they're doing. Let's play this game. But Jim Caldwell says that we're ready. It's time to get hot and run this thing in there and try to get in the playoffs and make it happen.
We've had a great regard for Coach Caldwell for a long time, having gotten to know him really well in his days back in Indianapolis as a coordinator and as a head coach, and then coordinator with the Ravens. Here's Bell. Nice cut outside. And he's got a first down. Joyke Bell having a good afternoon of it now with a couple of touchdowns. That goes for 22.
Yeah, good job of just cutting back. Backside force player. Not sure who it was. It could have been Ryan Mundy. Gets caught inside, and Bell, nice run.
You're glad to see Jim Caldwell get a second chance as a head coach. Yeah,
it's interesting. He has had many interviews to be a head coach the second time. He said he's very thankful for the second chance.
There's Bell, 4 more. And again, a reminder, the NFL doubleheader day on CBS Sunday, early, San Diego and Baltimore, but the big headline comes late. New England and Green Bay. There's all this talk, and I know it's early. The players don't want to hear it, the coaches especially so. But every fan right now would say that might be the Super Bowl preview. And we're going to have it for you Sunday afternoon on CBS. Second and 6, now moving it inside 4 minutes. You know, back to Jim Caldwell. So he took over for Tony Dungy. He took a team to the Super Bowl with the Colts. Then they had that year where Peyton got hurt and everything went wrong. A number of other injuries. Lost his job, landed with the Ravens. Was part of their whole Super Bowl mix. He's now Well, he's coached 2 quarterbacks to Super Bowl MVP awards, Peyton Manning and Joe Flacco, and now again he gets the chance here. He wanted this job here when it was open.
But he told his agent, there's one job I'd like, it'd be the Detroit Lions. Why? Because they have defensive linemen. They got Calvin Johnson. He knew they had a quarterback. And, you know, he says, oh, I'm the same guy I was with the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know. When I watch him in practice in these games, I see a different, you know, vibe from him, or a mentality. A little more in control or more forceful. I guess that's the best way to say it.
He told his agent when the job became open, we need to go after this one. And he got it, and it's been a perfect fit. His wife, Cheryl, and their 4 children and 2 grandkids, and other family members are all waiting for this game to end. Coach Caldwell to come home and have Thanksgiving dinner together. As Bell has another first down inside the 20 down to the 16.
Well, the Lions trying to finish this game out with style, no doubt. This last drive, nice cut across. Pettigrew gets a block. Yeah, Matthew Stafford, don't even think about it. Don't even think about blocking somebody.
Bell's up to 87 yards on the ground on 20 attempts.
Boy, Detroit, this offense, they needed it. They needed a shot of confidence. They got it today. Throwing, now running the ball down.
Keep feeding him the football. He's got another yard.
Jim, they're a dangerous team if they get in the playoffs for many reasons. They got the quarterback, receiver, the offensive line. Haven't talked about them enough. The first quarter struggle for about halfway through it, and now they've picked it up. The run game, they protected Matthew Stafford. But you got Calvin Johnson, all those pass rushers. If they can make it to the playoffs, they're capable of beating anybody.
I'll tell you what's looming now is a huge Week 17 encounter up at Lambeau Field against Green Bay. Would have a lot riding on that one. 2nd and 9. Bell tiptoes around the first tackle attempt and plows ahead for 2. Coming up, the Subway post-game show. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cowher, all the highlights, analysis, plus a preview of the rest of the Thanksgiving action. It's coming up on the Subway post-game show. Timeout called by the Bears here with 2:12 to go. Well, you're talking about if they get into the playoffs, and there are no cinches in this league, but at 8-4, this is a franchise very well positioned. Again, favorable schedule with next 3 opponents, as you pointed out, all sub 500. Next 2 at home.
Well, it's their chance. And I think
if they can get another playmaker like Reggie Bush back,
that'll really help. It was really interesting before the game. That's why we were shocked to hear he wasn't going to be or play today. Now, of course, they're extremely happy he didn't. They're going to win the game. He gets rested.
That's right.
But just hear the attitude of the coaches. Joe Lombardi saying what he does to their football team. That everybody, man, Reggie, a lot of players look up to him. You got to defend him differently. Mel Tucker for the Chicago Bears, the defensive coordinator, was very concerned if Reggie Bush was going to play. And you can never have enough weapons, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, Bell has come in, carried the load, the only one with the rush attempt today. This is his 23rd carry, and that brings him up to 92 yards. By the way, talking about the Lions' possible playoffs, the last playoff win, not appearance, win, came in 91 against the Cowboys. They're starved to get there and win again. The voting is in from CBSSports.com, and Calvin Johnson is the runaway fan choice here at 60% of the vote. And I don't know what percentage you're giving me, but I would back that one up too.
Oh yeah, I think overwhelmingly Calvin Johnson's going to win the award. The voting is in.
Voting is in. It's done.
It's done. What a job by him. Been nicked up this year, but looked absolutely terrific out there on the field today.
4th and 6, they'll run another play. They're going to throw it actually to Tate, and he's covered up in a hurry by Hurst. So now the Bears will come back out.
But you know, Calvin Johnson, you know, it was interesting talking to him on Tuesday just about we talked about early in the game how big he is, and you know the toll all the running and hitting takes on him, even more than it would a smaller wide receiver. Talked about running in the pool, doing his conditioning there to take the strain off of his legs and everything. And boy, today watching him warm up and during this game, you can tell he's 100%.
Saw him smile for a moment. I think somebody may have told him he won the Phil Simms All-Iron Award.
You think that made him smile?
That's probably what it was.
I think all those catches today might have done it in a touchdown.
11 for 146 and 2 touchdowns as Cutler connects. Marshall stays in bounds. Again, the Subway postgame show is straight ahead. We'll be wrapping things up from here, and we'll have the presentation to Calvin Johnson of the
we got a warning.
All-Iron Award.
The trophy weighs about 50 pounds. So.
Kadeem Carey takes that pass for about 6-7 yards.
Well, the Bears had a little reprieve, didn't they, winning 2 games?
And then the whole thing flipped here in this game. They got off to a good start.
Yeah, got everything. They haven't done that, but you know what it is? Their defense just cannot hold up against these top quarterbacks who could just, you know, you're throwing against zones in the NFL. Good quarterbacks beat it up.
Here's Cutler's pass pulled down by Bennett. You know, the Bears have managed 3 points since the first quarter. And you're talking about going against good quarterbacks now in 3 consecutive road games. They go against Brady, Rodgers, and Stafford. And they give up 51, 55, and 34. That was a 23-yard play to Bennett. And that's knocked down, but it merits a flag on Tahir Whitehead.
Pass interference. Defense number 59. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
Lance Barrow and the crew inside the truck have decided to go ahead and put up the win for the Lions. We wait until they make it official.
Is that it?
We don't have a vote in that one. We don't get 50% of the vote on that. When they put it on the graphic, it is over, folks. So the Lions are 8-4.
Hey, look, you know what? We've almost counted some games over, and we've seen teams come back from nowhere, and you go, boy, it's a good thing we didn't jump out there too early.
We didn't do that. Lance and Mike Arnold did. We don't do that. That's Perry with the catch for no gain.
Well, this is it from here to Green Bay. The big game on Sunday. Go watch see the Cowboys against the Bears next Thursday night. Pretty good, another good week of football coming up.
Final 20 seconds here. Cutler and the Bears, who were so sharp at the beginning. Bennett stays in bounds, and that may do it. Officials trying to run it in place to allow him one more snap, but we're not going to. Well, maybe we do get there. Looks like it's an official play. Flag is down, and fantasy owners are begging for a Bears touchdown in some cases. As Carey takes the lateral, that's a forward lateral. I can spot that one. I wasn't sure they got the playoff in time. Definitely didn't appear that anyone was, or everyone was fully set.
I didn't think they got it off in time.
Bears are going to fall to 5-7, and you can't mathematically rule them out. But man, it is from this point forward, again, with all the superb records in the NFC, clearly you got to win the next 4. And I'm still not sure that's even going to be close enough.
I agree.
There are 2 fouls on the play. 12 men, defense, illegal forward pass on offense. By rule, those penalties offset, replay, first down. We'll extend the quarter for 1 play.
So the game is extended. Coming back for seconds.
Did he get the football snap in time?
Just
They did. How about
fractions?
Well, the only thing about situations like this that always make you nervous is for your quarterback or receiver, just be careful.
To the end zone, intercepted. Intercepted by Ihedibo to close it out. Second pick of the game for the Lions defense. So that's it. Final score 34-17. Lions defeat the Bears. Subway post-game show is coming up. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Phil, and all the family.
Jim, same to you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Yeah. To Tracy, to Mike Carey, and all the crew and their family members. God bless you all. What could be better than a day built on one theme? Gratitude, thanks, appreciation. I speak on behalf of all the men and women of this NFL crew, several hundred strong. We send along our love and gratitude, counting our blessings for those you are about to see.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water rises, you built a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, you're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay. Hope that you fall in love and it hurts so bad. Hey, the only way you can know, you give it all you had. And I hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. Hope when the moment comes, you'll say, I swear I lived. Hope that you spend your days, but they all add up. And when that sun goes down, hope you raise your cup. Oh, I wish that I could witness all your joy and all your pain. But until my moment comes, I'll say